Everyone. This is Angel, Mastiff Home Buyers. Today for our property owners resources live. Um, Again, to introduce myself, my name is Angel. I'm the CEO for Mastiff Home Buyers. We help people solve problems. So I'm here today live to share with you some just simple tips and information for you to use at will. Um, we do not have a guest today, but I do have a very important topic that's going to lead us into a guest that we will have in the future on February 1st. This is informal and live. There is a chat available if you hop on and have a question, drop it in the chat. I'll do my best to man the chat. I'm not always great at that. Um, but I will definitely do my best. We are live on Facebook as well as YouTube on our channel and our Facebook page. So I am going to just jump in since I don't have anyone to introduce today. Let me get to my notes here. So today, as you could probably see on the little ticker down here, I wanted to talk a little bit about beneficiary deeds, which is something I didn't know much about and definitely not an expert. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not here to give you any legal advice. Um, Beneficiary deed was not something that I knew a lot about prior to being in real estate. So I assume that there are others who are also not familiar with a beneficiary deed, also known as a deed on death, which ultimately tells folks after your death where your house or your property is going to go. Now, this is going to look different for folks who have multiple properties or have properties in an LLC, and we're not going to go into this. This is just for the average American who owns a house and has paid it off and wants to ensure that that house transfers to whomever they want after they pass away. So, in Missouri, I learned that when you buy a car and you register that car with your county, it actually forces you to call out a transfer on death. So who do you want to get your car when if and when you pass away while you own this particular vehicle? I don't believe that's something in Kansas. I've only lived in Kansas and Missouri, and I don't recall that being something that Kansas did. But in Missouri, you are forced to answer that question and to put somebody in that blank to say, I want this person to get my car if something is to happen to me. However, there is not a similar question for your home. So, when or any property that I'm aware of, real property. So when you go to the title company and sign the deed and buy that house, it does not say, oh well, if something happens to you, who do you want to get the deed um, after you pass away? And so, since it's not a forced question, that means you have to take initiative or action to make sure that that transfer deed on death or beneficiary deed is put into place on your behalf and on the behalf of your heirs or folks who you want to get that house if something are to happen to you. So it is paperwork that you have to do, and it will help avoid that probate process. And especially if you don't have specific heirs and it's not clear, or maybe you have children and stepchildren, or maybe you don't have any children and you want your house to go to a friend or someone else. Um, you can set that up so that it doesn't go to the probate process, because sometimes if things aren't outlined in a will very clearly, um, your uh, your wishes may not be carried out. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and file that beneficiary deed. It is pretty simple to do, and it's just a recording. You can have a title company help you. There's attorneys who can help you. You can Google resources, and you can actually even do it yourself. I usually recommend that people get help doing it, just to make sure that it's done correctly, from experts who do this work every day. But you do want to do it. This is something that, outside of all other estate planning, and there's much more that you probably need to do related to estate planning, and we're not talking about that. And this does not negate all of that. It does not negate creating a will or trusts or any of those things that you need to do as part of your estate planning. But this is just a simple thing that really I think everybody needs to do, and will make things so much easier if something does happen to you. So your heirs will definitely appreciate it if you have that already clearly delineated, what's going to happen. In the instance that, they want to sell the house, perhaps, the house isn't going to be stuck in a probate process if you have written up a beneficiary deed that says, I leave my house to my two children or three children or whatever, and you have them listed out on that deed. That really should keep it out of the probate process, and allow them to go ahead and deal with the house outside of that process. So um, it is something that is not, probably not everybody knows about it. People might not think, well, I need to do this because, I don't really have an estate. I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't, it's, all of it should just go to my kids. And you just think that what happens is going to happen. And that's really just not true. So take a minute, do some research about beneficiary deeds, and reach out to a professional. Luckily, we do have a professional who is going to join us on February 1st. Audrey Snyder Young. She is a real estate and estate planning attorney, and she's going to join us for our live session and talk about some of the things that she believes are important, the legal pieces that property owners should be aware of, and should note. So, this is probably something that she will talk about, and she'll share a little bit about this beneficiary deed. Um, and so I am not going to go into detail because I'm definitely not the expert on this, but I did want to cover it and put it out there. I may do some subsequent discussions. Maybe I'll do a little bit more detail next week, so we can prepare a little bit more for Audrey when she comes on February 1st. So I am going to wrap it up for today. And I will see you all next week on the Mastiff Home Buyers Property Owners Resources live broadcast. Bye bye.